Hello, this is Stimming from Hamburg, and today I'm going to show you the new Elektron model samples. I'm going to do this in English again, just for my German fellows to have something to complain. This is the new machine. It's white, it's light, it's like 840 grams, including the power supply. So it's really light. It's plastic, feels like a plastic bomber. Mostly because of its weight. If I compare it to an older machine, the Rhythm, I got one here. This one is built like a tank. It's full metal. It's like you can see those marks from, I played with it like for about a year on stage. So it's like really, it can handle a lot of impact, but still, it doesn't necessarily feel cheap. It's just that light that you don't expect it to be very stable. I think it is. I tried to open it and I couldn't. There's like two things at the side. One for, I have no clue what it is. And another one for, one day they say they're going to sell a battery next to it, which I don't get totally because it's a sample player. They call it model samples, but it's a player. It cannot sample by itself. You really need to fill it with your own samples or the ones which are inside, which are quite nice actually. They bring some stickers with it. So you can individualize the machine. I made the keys to know where to jump if I want to play something tonal. Yeah, I can put a sticker on it. Thank you, Elektron, for letting me individualize my machine. Wow. Okay, I'm a bit cynical, but I don't know if I like it. Like if you compare it, this is an industrial kind of machine built for 20 years. And here you get some stickers with it. I don't know. Okay, so it's a sample player. It can play samples. It also is a audio interface. It can stream audio from the machine into the computer and out. It doesn't work on Windows. I don't know why. I'm sure it's a driver problem, which they're gonna solve, I'm sure this time. But because it's simple, because it works with my phone. So let's try this as the beginning. Before I connect the phone, just I'm excited that it works a bit. No, we start with it. So there's a micro USB port next to the power plug, and let's see if there's some music coming in. Yeah, the machine plays my phone. I like that. Somehow I like that. So I'm sure, even if it doesn't work on Windows right now, it should be on iOS and on Mac OS. I'm sure they're going to solve it. Okay, just another thing to the connections. So you need a power plug. The USB port isn't for powering the unit, which in the beginning when I saw the port, I was like, yeah, finally, I don't need another power supply on the road. This makes a big difference actually, but it's very light. It's 5 volt, 1 ampere, so I'm not sure why they really need it. It must be a decision of stability. Also, it's a micro USB. It's not a USB-C, which feels like they are developing it since 2 years maybe. And like last year, everyone was switching for a reason, was switching to USB-C, and this is a bit old, but anyway. So there's 2 jack outputs, 1 stereo headphone output, and 2 mini jack MIDIs. It's a 6-part sample player. That means you get 6 instruments, and if I load it up, I can do an empty pattern. Those are the sounds that are loaded just when you open it. One thing that pops in your mind very easily: what happens if I press here, very immediately? Oh wow, the pitch is already on a sequencer. So you can play something tonally just on the fly, very fast. Then the next thing, which is a big difference to all the other Elektron machines, it has a knob per function. That means if we look again at the rhythm, it has 8 encoders, but 6 pages. So it was 48 parameters that you can tweak. Here it's a bit less because then some, anyway. But you always had to change the page. So for instance, if I want to filter a sound, I need to press the page filter and then I have the parameter here. Or if I want to make it longer, I need to go to the M page and go to the envelope. And then, so there was always a step in between. Thankfully, not now anymore. So now it's very clean. This is like, I had the machine for 45 minutes and I immediately felt comfortable. Okay, I'm used to Elektron, but I'm not sure if I ever felt comfortable with an Elektron machine that fast. And now we're getting in an area where all the other developers already are. For example, Roland's boutique synths, they're so obvious in their layout and the interface, and that's a good thing. Really is a good thing. So if I want to, I don't know, if I have the bass drum here, I can like do a loop out of it, of the sample, have the sample length, pitch, cut-off, resonance, delay, and reverb. I like how the reverb sounds this time. In the Digitakt I didn't. If it's very, very small, the room, if the room is very small, it still sounds, yeah, not perfect, but I have yeah, it's fine. It's for a machine like this, I don't know of any other machine that has an inbuilt reverb that sounds as good as this. The delay, it's an Elektron delay. That means it's dangerous. Because I can, if I put up the feedback, I can go above 100 and that's becoming dangerous. Let's see. I'm sorry. Don't try this in the club, guys. It's dangerous. You can hurt people's ears, but I like that. Not to hurt people's ears, but that Elektron gives us Elektron isn't like acting as parents, but they say, okay, you can really fuck it up with that delay, and if you want, so then do it. LFO speed, which is only the speed if you want to shape the LFO or say like the multiplier, you have it in the menu. Volume, which also works as saturation going to distortion, which is very clever in my opinion. If you have volume 60 or 50, I don't know, I think it's 60. This is just max volume and the wave is as it is. And if you go higher, you can see it in that graphic. It's going much more into the distortion and the bass drum suddenly can become like this. So here it's clean and here it's distorted. It's not a beautiful distortion as the one from the machine I tested before, but it's still very nice. It's very valuable, especially for other sounds than bass. Swing and chance. There's a chance parameter which works as like a percentage for the whole pattern, for the whole instrument. Not so much for the step itself. So every time a step appears, it calculates again the chance. If it's at 100, it always plays. But for example, if we put all 16s, you get it? So it's like reducing the chance of the event being played. But also it has trigger conditions, just like all the big ones. And there's a swing parameter which can basically, it nudges the like one here you see on grid, and then you can put like one step a little bit before or a little bit after. This is beautiful. Seriously, it's just the most beautifully thought out sequencer out there, for my opinion. And also, like, there's only this small display, but it's totally fine for parameters like this. It will not take too long for me to know what happens when I tweak the knob. I don't need to watch the LCD. And like Elektron machines traditionally have small displays. And if I have, like I'm having the Octatrack on stage, I used to have two, but I'm going to replace the second one with this one. Because the second one was working as a drum machine, and now this drum machine is suddenly light, not 2.4 kilogram. And I figured when I'm playing, I'm not using a computer on stage, but the Octatrack has a display like this, and I'm still looking all the time at the display because there's pages, and here there's parameters which I can tweak immediately. Obviously, I like that. So you can automize or parameter lock, as they say, all the gray ones. You cannot parameter lock samples. All the bigger machines are able to parameter lock a sample. That means you press an event and then you can tweak it as you want. And only on this, you see even the LEDs light up, and only at this step, the parameters are being played like you tweak them, and then you can go further. The bigger machines can also trigger samples on it. So you're not limited to 6 samples, but to 128 multiplied by 6. And at this machine, Elektron decided not to allow this. I don't want to judge this, actually. It was a bit confusing in the bigger machines, so for me it's fine if they don't do it. What they don't have, and what I'm not so sure if I like, is that there's no attack parameter. Not at all. There's no filter envelope and there's no attack parameter. That means anything the machine plays, it's going to be played as is. You have no chance to like slew it in slowly, or if you want to play a slow sound, you have to do it beforehand, before you load it in. So let's play a bit. Okay, that was fast and intuitive and whatever. So there's two things which they really, really made incredibly well this time. Basically, it's one thing. So while I was reviewing the Digitakt, I was showing the reload pattern feature. And on the Digitakt, I have to show it on the rhythm, it was function, no, right? The problem is the function yes means save. So the difference between yes and oh shit was just 1 centimeter away from each other. And while I was using the Digitakt on stage, it just happened like 4 or 5 times that I tweaked the whole groove into somewhere else for the break, basically. And then I wanted to go back to the saved state, and I saved the wrong state, and I couldn't get back. So my drop was gone. And everyone was a bit confused because like, where's the bass drum coming? And shit, I have to tweak back the right groove. So it was clearly a interface failure, if you want so. Well, it was a failure basically, and they recognized. And this time, the reload pattern is just function and pattern, and that's it. So. Okay, that was the one thing. The other thing is, the other point which I really like is the control all functionality of Elektron machines is implemented very well here in this machine as well. So if I press function and track, there's this control all, then I can tweak all the gray knobs and affect all 6 instruments at once. For example, if I use it on the pitch. Easily reload pattern, and it's not a problem at all anymore. Actually, that's the reason why I'm using it. I'm going to use it on stage again, because I can be confident that when I play function reload pattern, I'm going to be back in the groove. Loading a sample and the whole folder structure is still a bit weird, still a bit Elektron style, not as bad as in the old days where you send it via MIDI, like 1 bass drum, 2 minutes of coffee drinking. So it's quite fast. Even if the machine had some hiccups while I was sending files while playing and stuff, but this is version 1, and I didn't have any real issue. The LFO doesn't work on level. I don't know why, and the audio interface doesn't work on Windows. But they're gonna change it on version 1.1, so that's not an issue. Yeah, one thing I made. Just to show that it has some waveforms in it, and if you loop a waveform, the engine is so tight that it works as a synth. Just one waveform being looped, it's a synth. And somehow I really like to misuse drum machines as synths, because they're made for being punchy and sounds very nice to my ears. You can use different waveforms just for you to get an idea of what it's capable of. So, of course, it's monophonic. It's 6 monophonic synths, and I have a 4-tone pattern. Let's use another. So you see, I choose another waveform, and then I have to press. There it is. Sharp, right? Was it sharp? I think so. They obviously thought about this reload pattern feature. And what I can do is I can temporarily save something. So if I like this state, I save the pattern to the temp area, and I can like tweak it again and then jump back to that state immediately, for example. Did I mention that those pads are velocity responsive and that they are playable velocity-wise? It's an It's a new thing for Elektron that pads are basically playable as pads, because again on this machine they're also velocity sensitive, but they're so hard. Like my fingertips hurt every time I was playing it because I need to push push it like to make a loud sound of it, to reach the 127 velocity. So those feel much better in terms of playing. Yeah. Anything else that is really important? There's one thing I'm not sure if I like or if I don't like. The pitch is only halftone pitches. You can't go in cents. Like you can only go like whole halftones. I would like to be on a 30 cent or minus 50 cent, to be somewhere in between the tones, because especially for bass drums, it's always good to be not on one exact tone, but be somewhere in between. It's not possible here. It's only halftones, as you see. That's a little bit of a minus for me. Anyway, the parameter log, if you want to change like the tone it's going to play, you can like pitch it here. It's no problem. Just for you to know, if you want to edit the velocity, you have to press the encoder. So it toggles between the tuning and the velocity. It's a bit confusing because it doesn't say so anywhere. Okay, I think that's it for the machine, and I'm going to play around with it a bit. Yeah. If it's playing a tone, yeah. So that's if it's playing a waveform. It does something very weird when I change the sample length, and I really like how it sounds. Just found out. So my conclusion, in the Elektron range, the Digitakt and Digitone are in between their new range model samples. I'm sure the next one will be model Synth, model drum. I hope, please, Elektron, come with a drum machine. Like, go back to the machine drum idea and do it in a form factor like this. I'm gonna buy it. Anyway, Digitakt and Digitone are in between their flagship models and those. Somehow, this makes much more sense for me because the usability here is much better than the parameter per page philosophy behind the bigger machines and behind the Digitakt. It cannot sample by itself, which isn't a problem for me. The display is much too small to be able to tweak something like a sample to cut it in there. So I don't care. I do it in the computer, no problem. For me, like if building machines would be an art form, this is the next step for going to the core of their machines. The reduce it to the max slogan somehow fits incredibly well for this machine. They threw out everything which wasn't necessary and simplified things in the total right direction. And I'm totally fine with 6 instruments instead of 8 or 12. Honestly, on stage, in the heat of a performance, I can't handle more than 6 anyway. So I'm totally fine with it. Well done.